Is another battle in the blue tournament. I won't even try to pronounce the names of these players. I'll just call them Boyai and Sparta. We have one player from the Wolf clan and one player from potentially a clan that has Cyrillic letters, so I'm not able to see what they are. But anyway, it's the Boyai versus Sparta, and in this tournament you have a system where you can only bring a maximum of 8 of the same unit type, so maximum 8 swords, maximum 8 spears. Then you can only use each faction once up until a certain point in the tournament. So picking Boyai as a first pick is a safe pick, because it will usually allow you to defeat a weaker faction like Sparta, but that also means you won't be able to use Boyai in the coming rounds of the tournament, so potentially risky. 3 heavy horse hiding in the forest, 4 Celtic bowmen, 2 levy freemen, spear warriors, 3 levy freemen, and a front line of sword followers and Oathsworn. The Oathsworn general is a commander of all things. Then we have 4 Tarentine cavalry for Sparta, 2 Periki peltasts, 5 royal Spartans, or 5 royal Spartans, and 3 Spartan hoppetes. Now this Spartan army is ill-equipped to deal with the Boyai. Any Spartan army is ill-equipped to deal with the Boyai. But I think in terms of what Sparta can bring very cost-effective slingers in the form of Gorgos. Although the cavalry of the Boyai is a huge threat to Sparta, I think going for longer range skirmishers instead of the Periki peltasts and the Helot archers would be a good choice. They would be able to do well against Celtic slingers and Celtic bows, and could potentially be effective. And in terms of deployment here, the Spartan player is doing well in moving down towards the forest, which will blunt the charges and the missiles of the Boyai. But I still think it would have been a better idea moving up here for the Spartan player, so he would potentially be able to fire downhill and charge downhill. Tarentines are going to start harassing levy freemen on the flanks, but this is not really a good situation for the Tarentines to be in. They might eat javelins, but a double charge here and the levy freemen not getting their charges off means that most of the unit is going to get knocked down. It's going to take a lot of impact damage on the charge, and the Tarentines are pulling out. Basically, they probably took some hit point damage, but they're not really going to take a lot of casualties, maybe a casualty or two. Yeah, they took a casualties from javelins on the return, but still a decent enough charge there by the Tarentine cavalry. And anytime you're up against the Boyai and you don't see heavy horse, I think it's a good idea to just go scouting for heavy horse, because then he would have discovered these heavy horse in the forest with his Tarentines, and he could have been able to skirmish them. And javelins spent on heavy horse is probably the most effective way to use javelins in this instance. Here the Tarentines, they are not quick enough to get away from the javelins, so they are taking damage. But here, this would have been a nice time to get in a counter charge against the levy freemen. But the Tarentines are going to pull away. They have fire at will turned off, which is a very good idea when you're up against levy freemen. You do not want to use javelins on levy freemen when there are big juicy targets like Oathsworn. And these Tarentines could be super important in trying to take out the Celtic bows of the Boyai, to give Sparta a small skirmishing advantage. Not a huge advantage here. I would have liked to see some Gorgos, to be honest, in this instance. Gorgos Pike Center maybe, because now there's really nothing stopping the Boyai from just rushing in and destroying this very small Spartan army. Some fire coming in from the Helot archers into the front of sword followers. It's going to do a bit of damage, but nothing huge. Here the Tarentines managed to charge straight through the levy freemen and into the Celtic bows, but they're taking so much damage. Now they're getting attacked again by levy freemen, and the Tarentines are going to start dropping quickly here. Not really great for them just being able to take out this Celtic bow, and this Celtic bow could potentially come back into the fight as well. Not if it gets charged now, however, but that needs to happen quickly because there are heavy horse units moving in. So he's not able to charge in and finish off the Celtic bows. The Celtic bows are probably going to come back from routing, and this Tarentine cavalry is trapped. If there are javelins here for the levy freemen, they're going to wreck the Tarentines, but it looks like they already have used all of their javelins. Heavy horse being used to chase away the Tarentines, and this would be a really good time to start turning fire at will on to do some damage to the heavy horse, but it looks like fire at will is not being turned on, and now the Tarentines are getting charged, and now the Tarentines are going to die. Yeah, they're going to get caught by those heavy horse. The Celtic bows did come back from routing. So one more charge would have finished off that unit, but the Tarentines were pulled away. Now the Tarentines are getting some shots off on the heavy horse, but they're just so depleted. They did manage to take down a few heavy horse though. Javelins are super effective against cavalry units. Need to be careful because there are more levy freemen coming in. If they have javelins, they could do a lot of damage now. Boyai just moving slowly up towards Sparta. Sparta pulling back a bit. This terrain is much better for Sparta, but I still... the Boyai player is going to have to mess up his engagements significantly if he's going to lose this, because Oathsworn and Sword Followers are just going to tear through these hoplites, no problem. And the Spartan general is just a commander as well. He will help to keep the hoplites in the fight for a bit longer, but if it comes to that the hoplites are on the verge of breaking, they have such good morale anyway that keeping them in the fight for a bit longer is just going to prolong the inevitable, I think. Tarentines getting caught here, or they actually charged the levy freemen. A nice follow-up by the Tarentines here, attacking the levy freemen in the rear. This might actually finish off the levy freemen. So nice use of Tarentines this. Not really losing anything for it either, so the levy freemen started wavering. Nice use of Tarentines in supporting each other there. But they need to get another charge on the levy freemen to get them off the field completely. And now the Celtic bows are being protected by heavy horse, so it's not going to be easy for Sparta to get at the Celtic bows now. Sparta is just getting slowly surrounded by Boyai. They do have a nice terrain advantage, but there's nothing really stopping the Boyai from moving up the hill on the left side of Sparta and then getting downhill charges themselves. Tarentines starting to fire. The heavy horse are sort of in the forest. They're still going to take damage from this. They're going to move out of the forest. They probably should just move away at this point. Yeah, like that. That's better. Taking damage from the javelins, but nothing huge at this point. The levy freemen did come back, and now they could potentially throw some javelins. They are getting the javelins in, and they're taking out a lot of Tarentines. So that's the annoying thing with breaking these units. If you don't manage to shatter them, they might come back and they will still be able to do damage. Sparta still moving back while skirmishing at the edges with the Tarentine cavalry. Tarentine cavalry could potentially do a lot more damage to the heavy horse. But again, they're eating javelins from the levy freemen, and these levy freemen have killed 15 Tarentine cavalry already. So although there has been some nice Tarentine play by the Spartan commander, it's still not enough. He's still losing Tarentines unnecessarily due to these javelin volleys. Sparta moving back up into the forest. Very nice terrain advantage here for Sparta. But again, the Boyai army, the Spartan army is so immobile that the Boyai army is going to be able to surround the Spartan armies very easily if he chooses to do so. I'll just fast forward here a bit while they are jousting for position. Sparta moving further down into the forest, and I'm not sure why Sparta doesn't move up here, because this is just going to make it so easy for Boyai to move around on the Boyai left and complete the surround. It looks like the Spartan army is going for the weak flank of Sparta, wanting that Sparta is going for the weak flank with the general, which is sort of a good idea. But the problem is that Sparta is already surrounded, so if Sparta engages here, they're just going to get surrounded by sword followers, and the sword followers are going to get a charge now, probably right into the Royal Spartans, getting a downhill charge of all things. So the Royal Spartans are losing a lot of men on the charge. The sword followers are as well. Royal Spartans are tough, but it's not a good cost-effective exchange for the Royal Spartans. Here the Royal Spartans are charging into sword followers. They should be able to do well when the sword followers are stationary. General on general, not going to end well for the Royal Spartan general, and the Royal Spartan general is pulling away, sort of. So he lost his charge, and then he got counter-charged. It's only going to be a short matter of time before the Spartan lines crumble here. Royal Spartans dropping super quickly. Even in phalanx here, they're doing decently well against the sword followers, but they are so much more expensive than the sword followers. So it's not really a good exchange for the Royal Spartans. Here you can see it as well. Royal Spartans getting focus fired by the Celtic bows. The Celtic bows are firing into the unshielded side of the Royal Spartans, and that's just going to absolutely destroy these Royal Spartans. So Boyai army is completing its round of the Spartan forces. They are going to be able to hold for some time due to their great morale, but at this point there's absolutely nothing Sparta can do. Sparta is just going to get stomped all over by the Boyai in this case. Tarentines getting some nice shots off on the heavy horse, but it's just not enough. Getting into the Celtic bows, breaking some Celtic bows and some Levy freemen. But still, the main line of Sparta, the Hoplites, they're just crumbling under the assault of good swordsmen. And Royal Spartans getting absolutely destroyed by sword followers and skirmishers. So risky to pick Sparta in the first round, especially against the Boyai. The Boyai a very safe pick, but now the Boyai player runs the risk of not having Boyai later on. So some of these Tarentines did very well, but you can see how poorly the Hoplites do against the mid-tier swords of the Boyai. A lot of Boyai left on the field, and good game, well played to both players. Good luck in the coming rounds of the tournament. Strength and honor.